I've been working as a truck driver for well over 10 years now, but I only recently changed companies. I actually would have stayed in my own company, but when my friend Jake told me how much his company paid, I practically begged him to get me a job there. He referred me there, and I got the job after the interview. The interview itself was very strange, because I was asked some questions I didn't expect, like, have you ever abandoned your vehicle on the road? Are you afraid of the dark? Are you religious? Etc. I answered everything truthfully and got hired right on the spot, so I didn't think twice about the oddity of the questions. My job was to transport dried meat products to a small town, and for some reason the company said it could only be done at night, and that I had to be there by morning, and the handsome pay more than compensated for it, so I didn't complain. When the time came for my first tour, Jake explained which route I should take to get to my destination, stating the GPS was a little off. Before I entered the truck, he sent a message to my phone and told me to listen to it when I get on the road, since it explained some basic rules I should follow. I thanked him and started driving. When I got on the old road which Jake told me to take, I opened the message he sent me and realized it was an audio recording from him. Here's what it said. Hey Paul, welcome to the company. Now I know you're an experienced truck driver, but our company has a list of rules you need to strictly follow while you're driving. I'm going to lay them out for you here, and you just make sure to follow them as best as you can. I'll also send you a text message so you can read the rules in case you aren't sure. Now, first of all, make sure to turn on your high beams and keep them on at all times, since it's really dark on the road. You may notice that even with the lights on, it's really dark, but don't let that concern you. Within the first 10 miles, you may see a dead end sign ahead. Ignore it and just keep driving. If your lights start flickering by this point, speed up and drive as fast as you can until the flickering stops. You may see an old man hitchhiking by the road at this point. Make sure to stop your vehicle and ask him where he's going. If he says, to the nearest town, let him in. If he says anything else, floor it and don't look back. If you do let him in, he will remain quiet for about an hour while you're driving, and then he'll ask you to stop and let him out, despite being in the middle of nowhere. Do what he says, but once he's out, don't look at him while he's walking into the night. You should be well within the 20th mile by now. If you start to hear any banging or growling noises coming from the back of the truck, ignore them. They'll go away faster if you maintain a consistent driving speed, so try to do that. Before you reach the 30th mile, make sure to turn off your radio, if it was on until now. Turning it down will not work, so make sure it's turned off. This is really important. By the 35th mile, your radio will suddenly turn on and will be at the highest volume. Now it is really important that you pay attention here. If a song plays, any song, turn it down or off. But if you only hear static, stop your truck right away, turn off the engine, lie down on the seat, and close your eyes. Try to be as still as possible and keep your eyes closed. You'll hear tapping on the windshield and the roof, but you'll be okay as long as you keep your eyes closed. Even if you hear the truck door opening, don't move. Whatever opens them will close them in a few seconds after sniffing around. Once the noises around the truck stop, you can open your eyes slowly and look at your driver's window. If the window is fogged up, wait 1 more minute. Otherwise, you can sit back up and continue driving. By the 50th mile, you'll start to see something run along your truck on all fours by the side of the road. No matter how fast you go, it will always keep up with your truck. But it's advised you maintain a speed of at least 60 miles per hour. Try to keep your eyes on the road because there's a curve, after which the creature will be gone. If the creature is still following you after the curve, speed up and hope you lose it by the next curve. You only have 3 curves, so make them count. By the 70th mile, your truck will stutter to a halt. Remain as calm as you can and try restarting the engine as fast as you can. Don't look in the rearview mirror at any figures running towards your truck. Just start the engine as soon as you can. Floor it. You'll notice by mile 80 that it's getting really hot inside the truck. Don't bother with the air conditioning because it won't work. Try taking off your jacket, but don't open the window under any circumstances. Try not to fall asleep either, because even though the road goes straight, you may find yourself swerving off a cliff if you close your eyes. If you need to use the bathroom, only do it between the 85th and the 90th mile. Make sure to keep your high beams on while you're doing it. Do not step off the road or out of the light. When you're done taking a leak, you may see someone move behind your truck, just as you turn around. Don't try to follow them, because they will just endlessly move around the truck just in time for them to always be just behind the next corner. If you hear a high-pitched scream in the distance while you're taking a leak, run back to the truck and floor it. I don't care if you piss your pants, do not waste a second of running back. Regardless of the mileage, at around 3 a.m. your phone will start ringing. Don't answer it, no matter who it is, even me. The caller will try to get you to answer 3 times before sending you a message. Don't open the message either. Again, whoever it's from, ignore it. By the 100th mile, you may see a pair of beams from other vehicles in the distance moving towards you. If you do, turn off your lights immediately and wait for the other truck to pass by. Once it does, you may turn your lights back on. Repeat for any oncoming vehicles. Do not honk or do anything to attract their attention. Keep looking in the rearview mirror, and if you see the beams of the truck turning around and coming back towards you, drive away as fast as you can and pray you are faster. Now, when you reach the 120th mile, you'll see a sign for a 20 mile per hour speed limit. Slow down to 20 miles per hour and do not go over that speed, since the sound can attract unwanted attention. You can speed up once you see another sign that tells you the speed limit stops at that point. At around mile 130, you may see a woman waving and asking for your help. Do not slow down and do not even look at her. Once she's behind you, look in the rearview mirror. If she's still on the road, you're safe. If she's gone, just look straight and don't even thinking about looking at the passenger seat, no matter what you see with your peripheral vision. Once you reach the 140th mile, you're safe. From here, it's a straight shot to your destination. Don't try to turn your truck around at any point while you're on the road, because you'll end up driving until you're out of gas. And if that happens, you're as good as dead. Don't use your GPS until you reach the town either, because it will take you to an old dirt road, which will have you driving in a loop. Once you reach the client's place, the employees will take care of the rest. Let me know if you have any questions. I listened to the message and laughed, thinking Jake simply wanted to prank me. That was before my lights started flickering. There's nothing scary about the woods. Sorry guys, or as I should say, sorry kids, I get it. You all saw the Blair Witch Project or some shitty creepypasta BS online, and suddenly some of the most beautiful places in the world are havens for demons or zombies or whatever garbage is lining the pockets of writers these days. But guess what? It's all your imagination. Look, I remember being a kid. My mind would go all over the place. Ghosts, goblins, aliens, blah blah blah. You know what happened though? I hit 13. I saw the real world. Here's why I'm so irritated about all this "ooh, I'm too scared to go into the woods now" bullshit. I lived near a state park. There are quite a few local businesses that used to thrive because of the high number of hitchhikers, picnickers, and day trippers during the spring, summer, and fall. But over the last couple years, perfectly coinciding with those idiot kids one-upping each other to cry about how scared they were, these businesses lost a ton of money. Yes, I own one of them, an ice cream stand. I could see the trend starting too. Pasty white, black-clad preteens on vacation with their parents would whine about being too frightened to go on a mile-long hike along a pristine trail just because there were spooky trees around, all while shoveling ice cream in their soft faces. I thought back to what my father would have done if I had complained about being too much of a baby to walk around outside for the afternoon. The only ice cream he'd have bought me would have been for me to put on my black eye. So I've lost money because of this shit. My buddies lost money too. Spouses divorced each other. Kids end up not going to colleges they wanted, and the local economy, aside from the revenue from skiers in the winter, went to hell. And it's all because of these little assholes who think fragile, bleeding, and cowering in fear is more desirable than strength and resilience. I weep for the future. My ice cream stand is supposed to open on March 1st. Already, though, I can tell it's going to be a brutal season. The pervasiveness of those online stories about creepy things in the woods and OMG, I can't believe what I found in this diary while I was hiking has just grown and grown. When I look through the comments on ridiculous websites that showcase that trash, I see adults, saying how terrified they are to even go in their backyards because they think some skinny guy in a suit or a troll monster is going to possess them or something. Never once have the authors of this garbage thought about how their recklessness is destroying small businesses. Before my wife died, I used to be able to look out from my back porch and see families hiking through the woods. Kids skipping stones across the ponds, and dads teaching their sons or daughters how to safely build a fire using sticks. Now there's just timeless woods and a devastated economy. The childish dopes succeeded in scaring themselves away from nature, and they screwed up the livelihoods of real people in the process. Thankfully, every now and then a family will walk by the house and do the things I used to see before all that I'm too scared horse shit started. The other day, for the first time in nearly 3 years, a young couple braved the melting snow and mud and set up a tent right on the outskirts of my property. Do you know how happy it made me to finally see some people who aren't afraid of ghosts or haunted woods? I must have stayed in the tent until the sun came up, enjoying their warm, young meat. The woman died instantly, but her husband or boyfriend or whatever remained alive for hours. The only benefit of such a low population of hiker nowadays is that not a single person heard him screaming as he watched me eat the most tender morsels of his partner before I unleashed my appetite on him. Another bonus. They were in a tent. I just had to wrap it around them and drag them back to the house. No fuss, no muss. After all my complaining, I have to admit, finding 2 people who were brave enough to go out in the woods helped me feel better. It shows me that they didn't follow trends and did their own thing, just like in the old days. It doesn't entirely make up for the lost wages and the harm to our local economy, but it's still something. The knowledge, plus a freezer full of meat that'll last me through the spring, helps to warm my cynical heart.